Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. Together we dive into the world of sci-fi and science fiction. From episodes of Star Trek, Star Wars, to The Walking Dead, Resident Evil, all the hot new science fiction movies from the back doors of Marvel or DC. The Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast. You'll never look at science fiction the same way again.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. I am your host, Shay.
And I'm your favorite host, Pauline.
Yes, your favorite host. Today on the show, we are going to talk to you guys about the show, the comic book Trees, coming to television. We're going to talk about some cord-cutting ways that you can get some of your favorite CW shows.
You need to cut it. Cut it.
Yep.
Cut it.
There might be more Twilight in our near future.
Oh, say it isn't so.
I'd like to hope not. And we are going to talk to you guys a little bit about... I've got a question.
Yes. Shoot it.
Is it okay for a science fiction film, or any film really, to not have a deeper meaning, so to speak?
Ooh. You want my answer?
Well, we'll figure it out later.
We'll find out. You guys will hear about it.
So to start us off... The Warren Ellis and Jason Howard's comic series Trees is coming to television, and it's on a network that I'm not actually too excited that they're going to be doing this. So if you are not familiar with Trees, it is a comic book that was picked up by Image Comics.
Right.
I actually do enjoy Image Comics. I think Image Comics is kind of that comic book company. So you know about Dark Horse, which is kind of like the dark guys, right? They do the bloody, violent stuff like Conan and that sort of thing. They did. There was an Evil Dead series for a little while that was on Dark Horse. Also, you know about Vertigo, which is DC's bad boy, right? Mm-hmm. DC puts everything that, you know, they can't really get away with that's not too peachy clean and squeaky clean onto Vertigo. So stuff like Sandman and that sort of thing.
Ooh.
And then, of course, you know DC and Marvel. Well, Image is kind of one of those comic books companies that came out, and it featured Spawn. And Spawn is kind of the reason that Image Comics even really still exists. They've gotten a lot of weird things on there. The Max was pretty good. But, you know, some of their comics are few and far between. And It looks like they've picked up or they've had the series Trees. Now, if you're not familiar with the series, 10 years after they landed, I'm reading the synopsis.
Right.
All over the world, they did nothing, standing on the surface of Earth like trees.
So like alien trees.
Yeah, exerting their silent pressure on the world as if there was no one here and that nothing underfoot. 10 years since we've learned that there is intelligent life in the universe, that they did not recognize us as intelligent or alive. So basically what happens is these giant trees come down out of the sky and start like crushing everything and killing people. And they're not really going out of their way to kill people. They just kind of land and root themselves.
Right.
And so now we're living in a society where these alien trees are just all around the globe. And so I guess it has kind of like an odd manga-like tone. And it's in an alternate Earth setting. And so it looks like the London-based production company Hardy-Son and Baker will be observing the project, but we do not know if the writers of the comic book series are going to be involved. Right. So this was created in 2014, and it's kind of interesting. Like, if you're into this kind of thing, there's a lot of science fiction, drama, crime fiction, politics done right. They don't really touch on religion, which is something that I'm actually kind of fond of.
Yeah.
I get kind of tired of hearing like every comic book, every movie, and their grandmothers seem to have something to say about religion.
Right.
And I'm just kind of tired of it, you know?
Uh-huh.
I've heard the political statements about religion enough. Let's move on. Right. But then again, I guess what else is there to bag on? So, I don't know. NBC has picked it up, but NBC is kind of known for being lighthearted, and they're the ones that do The Good Place. And if you heard
I like The Good Place.
Yeah, well, if you heard my television podcast episode about it, I'm not a huge fan. I like the story idea, and I like, you know, I like the idea, and I like being taken to new worlds, but I don't like the squeaky clean, so innocent nature of it. It's very Mickey Mouse, you know, like I want some grit and darkness, damn it.
Want some gore.
Yeah.
Some killing.
So, and I feel like a show based around giant alien trees coming down on Earth needs some darn tootin' grit. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel like this would be better suited as an animated show. But
I think so too.
Like they're gonna do it
like
action.
a live action one.
I really feel like if Netflix were to do this, it would be
yeah,
awesome.
that would actually be kind of fun.
Netflix would pick up some of the more darker comic book series.
I wonder, maybe depending on how like Luke Cage and all them do.
Oh, well, they're gonna do great.
Yeah, so
because
who
the
knows?
Marvel stuff is successful. Why doesn't
Maybe in the
Netflix
future.
take up some Vertigo, take up some Image? I would like to see a live action The Max.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about the trees. I'm going to watch it because I'm interested. I'm really interested. I haven't read the comics, so I'm not too familiar. So
I'm not super familiar with the comic book series myself.
Right.
I am a big fan of comic books. I'll probably go out of my way pretty soon to see if I can find a copy of the graphic novel itself.
So that'll be my first introduction to the trees.
Have you read anything from Image Comics before?
No.
Image Comics, you know, I might not have given them enough praise that they should have deserved. There's a lot of outlandish stuff that goes to Image Comics. A lot of indie stuff goes to Image Comics. And I actually appreciate them for what they are.
Yeah. I agree.
Although there is some bizarre stuff that comes out on Image. Like, there's some stuff that I'm just like, this isn't for me. And that's coming from me. I like bizarre stuff.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know how I feel about alien trees. I guess they'll be like intelligent trees. I don't know how it works. I can't my mind can't like grasp this concept. I'm okay with like bugs and aliens and giant anything else. I don't know how I feel about trees.
I don't know. I feel like
trees aren't that scary to me.
I feel like alien plants haven't been done enough.
Okay, alien plants perhaps, but a tree?
A tree's a plant.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm thinking of like Venus flytraps. Like that's kind of scary.
That
like a giant one
cool.
of that'd be kind of scary.
They're just like in a pot bouncing around on the planet.
It's kind of like Mario. Like, you know. But you know, like that would be kind of scary.
So,
or like Jumanji with like the vines and things. That's kind of creepy. But like a tree, I mean, I guess the roots can like pull you and suck you into
So
the
coming
abyss.
up pretty soon, there will be a Pauline and Shay script about a giant killer Venus flytrap bouncing around the city of New York.
Has to be in New York, of course.
Or Chicago. It could be Chicago.
You know, has to do with that. So we're actually, so speaking of networks, so the CW has made it easier for us to actually cut the cord. Now, people are trying to cut the cord. We're trying to cut back on cable or whatever.
Those cable companies are evil, I'm telling you.
But the problem is with a lot of times, so say for instance, like you have an app that you can download on like your tablet, your phone, whatever it may be. But then when, so like HBO or Xfinity, whatever it is, you still have to log on with like your cable login. So you still have to, you know, have that subscription. So it's kind of like, like whatever, you still, either way, you know,
right.
You got to pay.
This is especially the case for CW, HBO, Stars, and all those.
Right.
They really don't want you getting their content unless you have cable.
Yeah, exactly. So you're still stuck and tied to it. But now CW, the network, will be providing full episodes on demand along with exclusive digital only concept. And the really cool thing about it is that you can download the app and it's basically available on anything: Roku, Chromecast, AirPlay, Apple TV, Android, Xbox, all of that. So if you have it, you can download the app and you don't need a login. You don't need anything. You just need to download the app and you can watch it.
Now, here's some of my little questions that come with this.
Right.
Now, how much are we getting? Are we getting like 2 episodes? Are we getting an episode and a half? Like,
so they haven't exactly told us what episodes will be available. So they're probably going to do that whole, like, you know, whatever the current episode is plus like the one previous, probably.
We'll see. I don't
know if they'll do like a whole season.
No.
I doubt that.
I think this is going to be like, you know, have you ever used Crackle?
No.
Crackle is we talked about it in a previous episode on the television podcast, but Crackle is a website where you can watch free movies and it has commercials. So they actually made Joe Dirt 2.
Oh,
it was bad. But they did a lot. They do a lot of. They don't have a lot of original content. They have a little bit, but they play a lot of older movies. Like Demolition Man was on there for a while. They have a couple of episodes of Seinfeld. Couple of episodes. Like they only have a couple episodes that they have licensed to. You can't watch the whole season. Show.
Yeah,
and I think this is going to be very similar in the sense to where you can watch an episode of The Flash.
I was gonna say like
or an episode
the one that
of
just
Supergirl.
aired, and that's probably about it. And then you probably only have like a week to watch it before, you know.
And the reason we're talking about this on this show is because CW does have a lot of our favorite science fiction shows. A lot of DC stuff is on CW, like Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, and all of those. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully you can watch full seasons, but we'll see. And if it is full seasons, it'll probably be like season 1.
Yeah, I agree. And then you're like, oh, like whatever. But you can watch the CW, like some of those shows and things, full seasons and full episodes.
Yeah, they do.
After the finale.
They do oftentimes come out to Netflix and stuff like that.
Yep.
Hulu sometimes gets them, I think.
So you just got to wait. I think it's like 8 days, like a week, about a week after the season finale. But then you could just binge watch.
Because
and I love
of
that.
Netflix, I've become really patient.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
I'm not as impatient as I used to be. Like one of my favorite shows that I've been watching since the beginning, BoJack Horseman.
Right.
Whenever I'm, I can wait a year for the next season to come out. Like I don't mind.
Very true.
When I used to be a fan of Doctor Who back before I stopped watching.
Right.
I would watched everything up until the most recent season, and then I would just wait.
Yeah.
Wait very patiently. There's other things to watch. So I've gotten really good about that. I'm sure you've gotten pretty good about that too.
I actually like waiting for the entire season to come out and then just watch it all the way through.
Blast it all.
Just spend like an entire day just staying up all night till like 6 o'clock in the morning and then just finishing those last 2 episodes.
A tub of ice cream.
Yeah, just popcorn. Yeah.
Hot Cheetos.
Yes, that's my thing. So, so I mean, if you watch any of those things on CW, now we have a new way to watch it. All you need is really like your phone, I guess.
I suppose.
And if you have a tablet or whatever, then you can watch it there. So we're going to cut it to a quick break real quickly. And then when we come back, we have some more things.
We're going to be breaking some records here because never on the Science Fiction Podcast have we torn down Twilight, and we are about to rip it apart. We're about to talk to you about how there might be more just when you thought it was over.
Just when you thought you're going to get enough. All right, so we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. And so, for those of you that love Twilight, because I know there's like a select few of you, that's fine.
And you're part of the problem.
I guess. I mean, that's fine. I know I had friends growing up when they first... No, it's kind of different, though. If you liked it when it first came out, because like you were really young and you were into it, and now you've kind of grown out of it, that's cool. Right. Everybody has those things in our past where we're like, I can't believe I used to think that was cool. And we're like,
yeah.
And then you kind of grow out of it. But then there are some diehard fans of every, I guess, cult classic. I don't know. But Twilight.
I'm not going to say that it's a cult classic.
Somebody
had to watch it because I guess they made, 5 of these things?
They made a lot of, I think it was 5. I personally only saw the first 2.
I saw the first one, and then I saw the ending of the last one. And I have to tell you something. The ending of the last one was so stupid. We'll get into that.
I just wasn't a fan of the whole sparkle.
No, I have a lot of problems with that. So just to give you a little bit of news, so what is it? Waschenberger or whatever his name is. Washburger, the guy who, is a part of the guys who make Twilight, was like, it's a possibility, but not a certainty. But it is a possibility. It's about Stephanie.
So
Stephanie
she's
Meyer.
a writer. So hopefully she will
tell
not
another story related
write
to
anymore.
Those characters. We're here for her.
So
They're here for her.
So if Meyer doesn't pick up the pen, there's nothing else to film. But if she decides to pick it up, if she gets over her writer's block, I don't know if she. But then hopefully she's just gonna sit comfortably.
Ended, like,
that's what I'm saying.
they
Hopefully
had a
she'll just sit
kid.
comfortably and just enjoy.
It's LionsGate. LionsGate's the guys who are doing this, and I liked you, LionsGate. So yeah. This might be a thing. This might be happening, and I'm hoping that it's not. So I'm really surprised that they're coming out and saying that they might do another one.
I don't know why they won't just let it rest. How many more?
Well, they finished all the books. Like, I don't really understand.
Right.
Anyway,
No.
my big problem with the Twilight series, and besides the fact that I don't really ever think that Kristen Stewart has ever had an acting bone in her body. If you watch, so there's a video on YouTube, you guys should all check it out, where it's all the sounds that she makes, and it's just from the first one, and it's just like, she just acts with this little, like, sigh.
She's like an awkward character, but then people like her because she's so awkward.
Well, it's because she's a blank slate, and everyone feels like they can, like, fit themselves into the blank slate.
But I feel like she kind of like is the same.
So not only is this a story about an abusive relationship where a dude watches you while you're asleep, like
very
first
true.
thing, and beats people off, and all that nonsense, and the fight between the werewolf and the vampire for her heart, and all of that.
And everybody used to think that Taylor Lautner was so hot. I mean, he's not unattractive, but I'm like,
but that chest though.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
anyway,
really do it for me.
Those wolves, man, like those were some of the worst CGI I've ever seen. And they thought that they were like innovative, and I'm like, no, I've seen PlayStation 1 graphics better than that.
No, I will admit the graphics were pretty bad.
No, yeah, PlayStation 1 games had better werewolves.
Given for the time that they like were made,
yeah, They were bad for the time that they came out.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, 2009, right? Like, that was when all of that was going on. Anyway, like, the movies were just, like, I just watched the first one and the end of the last one. And the beginning, like, the first one was just boring. Like, I was just sitting in my seat, like, they're boring people doing boring things. They're not even doing cool vampire
I did
stuff.
have a Twilight shirt.
Why?
I think my mom got it for me. I'm trying to remember who got that shirt for me. I think it was a werewolf shirt.
It's funny because we talked about in a previous episode how like a book needs to hold up to the movie. Everyone that I would like be like, that movie was boring.
Right.
Like, I don't even have like a huge problem with the franchise, just that it's boring. And everyone's just like, oh, well, you had to read the book. You would because it's all inside her head.
Oh yeah, like
because
their eyes change, like little things.
Well, it was like because the whole book takes place in her head.
Oh.
Like she's like, it's like that. Her mind or whatever. And so she's thinking about things while it's happening. But like, instead, we just get a movie where she's staring at him and sigh. Because she like sighs so many times. She doesn't act. She doesn't say anything. She just sighs. But the thing that bothers me the most, and if you've seen the last movie, literally there's a giant epic battle about to happen. And I'm like, yay, I can watch these guys kill each other.
Right.
So that they're all on this mountain.
Wait, did I see the last one? Because I'm thinking this is refreshing my memory. Go ahead. Keep going.
So they're all on the mountain. And they're all about to fight. And then you watch them fight. And they're ripping each other's heads off. And they're like beating each other to bloody pulps. And I'm like, yeah, metal. And then like you go and you see like her eye. And it's like out of her eye. Like the camera. And she's like, we're all going to die.
So she's
and then the other vampires that were going to fight them just turn around and they leave.
I did not see that one.
Yeah, no, like at the end of this fight, like there's this big fight that's about to happen, but she like I guess perceives that it's going to happen. So you see all the violence,
right,
but it doesn't actually happen.
Occur.
And then they just decide not to kill each other.
No, that's terrible.
Right? Like that's worse than
I don't even want to see it now.
So that's worse than the ending of movies now, and I'm sure we've all seen those movies where it's like, oh, we wake up and it's just a dream. The whole movie was a dream.
Yes.
Or, oh, we wake up and we're in an insane asylum.
Oh, I know.
Come on.
I'm not going to lie. I will admit, I tried to get into it when I was younger because all my friends were into it. But I was like, I remember my mom was like, vampires aren't supposed to sparkle. Like, and I was like, true.
Your mom's a smart woman.
Kind of like a fairy.
Yeah.
Wasn't really like a vampire. It was more like because you know how sometimes fairies can be like mean. So it's kind of just like a mean fairy, a gigantic fairy. And then I was just like, this guy kind of has problems because he's so old. He was actually pretty old because wasn't he like thousands of years old?
Pedophilia. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of didn't. That part made me kind of uncomfortable because he was kind of like an old guy.
It's kind of it's really uncomfortable.
Old guy.
Well, if this movie makes you uncomfortable, you know what you should check out?
What?
Interview with a Vampire.
Interview with a Vampire
is
as well.
Very uncomfortable movie. I love it. I think it's based on an Anne Rice novel, but I could be wrong, so don't crucify me. I'm not going to say that. But man, so it has
because I like vampires.
But yeah, no, it's about a vampire and like he's like really old and decrepit, and this guy comes in and interviews him, and he talks about his life, and there's legit like necrophilia, pedophilia, homosexuality, all kinds of just like it really explores the sexuality of a vampire.
Gotcha.
And it is a crazy movie. I think the book is supposed to be worse. Like, those novels, a lot of like vampire novels are really like grotesque. Like I believe that there was one that a friend of mine was telling me about because she reads a lot of them. She was not a fan of the Twilight series, but like literally when the lady got turned into a vampire, like she like excremented all of her organs out of her body. Like they all just kind of fell out.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really disgusting. So vampires should be gory, disgusting creatures. They shouldn't be
fairies. So, I mean, if you love Twilight, then
good for you.
I guess you guys can just be hoping that Meyer will pick up the pen again. If you feel like Twilight is over and done with, then hopefully we'll just keep praying that she doesn't pick up the pen.
Well, and I'm kind of wondering, like, because Lionsgate's also the guys that did 50 Shades of Grey, which 50 Shades of Grey is the like fan fiction of Twilight. From what I've heard, like it was written as fan fiction. I'm not even going to talk about how that book is like terribly written and how like bad the movie is. We turned the movie into a drinking game. Like every time she bites her lip, you take a shot. Well, like within the first 20 minutes, I was hammered.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, we'll see what happens if it comes out.
Yeah.
The Twilight.
I'm wondering, like, if at this point they can even make any money off of it, because I feel like a lot of the girls who grew up liking Twilight are now into the 50 Shades thing, and I don't think they're going to want to go back.
That's what I'm saying. It's just too old now. Like, we're too old for it. I'm hoping most of us grew out of it.
I don't know. I don't know anybody
that
like
owns rewatch it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, I haven't heard anybody talk about it in the last like 3 or 4 years.
I'm wondering. Like, I don't even really see it coming on TV. Like, you know how like they do replays.
I don't really see the books in stores anymore unless it's in a thrift store.
So I mean that's that. And then when we come back, we're gonna answer our question, whether or not it's okay for science fiction movies or books and things like that, but just any genre of movie and entertainment, if it's okay to just be just that, just entertainment, if there has to be a stance behind the things that we enjoy. So keep it locked here. You are listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch, whatever it may be.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. Now, Pauline and I, we asked a question in the beginning of the show.
Yep.
And you're probably all sitting around like, what a dumb question. But there is purpose behind it. So the question itself is it okay for a movie to just be taken at face value for entertainment? or does it need to have some sort of underlaying,
meaning.
deeper undertone for it to be a good movie? Now, I know there are a lot of film snobs out there who think that every movie needs to have a deep, dark message. I don't know. I don't think so. What do you think, Pauline? Especially in the science fiction world, because science fiction is like a groundbreaking innovator of these types of things.
I think that it is okay for movies, shows, whatever, to just be entertainment. I think that's okay. I don't think that there are a lot that are just for entertainment, because I feel like even with like TV shows, like you'll always have like one or like you'll have a few episodes a season where like they touch on something deeper, even if it's like funny, like a comedy series or whatever. But I think it's okay to have things just be entertainment, and to have things where you can just watch it or read something and you don't have to like think, and you don't have to, like you could just enjoy, just veg out
off.
And kind of and just take it for entertainment.
Well, one of the things that always kind of bothers me, it's just so many movies are trying to push like some sort of political agenda, some sort of PC nicety or whatever. And so it's a little refreshing to me sometimes. And I'm not talking about like so dumb that it's Michael Bay movie, but I'm talking about like, I don't mind movies that sometimes are just there for entertainment value. I think a perfect example of this would be, have you ever seen Grand Budapest Hotel?
No, I haven't seen it in its entirety.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in its entirety. Yeah.
When I watched Grand Budapest Hotel, and now this is coming from a guy who pretty much all he makes are artsy movies.
Right.
Like this guy makes some of the artsiest movies, and usually with art movies and true filmmakers, right? Mm-hmm. They make a lot of movies that are kind of set up to be, here is this big statement we're making with it.
Yes.
But Grand Budapest Hotel was just a movie for the sake of being a movie. And although it did have some like little things going on that, could possibly be interpreted a certain way, for the most part, it was just an entertaining movie. And I think a perfect example, and this is kind of what I wanted to get into, of a science fiction movie that is just for face value, nothing deep going on, but still captured the hearts of everybody, would be that of The Fifth Element.
Yay! Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
I love The Fifth Element.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
There's really nothing big and deep. It is a very formulaic, and it's very much set. Like, if you were to take like a movie from the 50s and kind of compare it to The Fifth Element, it's very similar. Like it's very standard. You've got the Egyptian artifacts, right? And then the aliens, and then the end of the world with this giant thing coming. It's very comic booky and very cartoony and campy.
Yeah, it is kind of,
And I oftentimes hear people refer to it as one of the best worst movies, or one of the best movies that they like to laugh at. I don't really think there's anything wrong with the movie itself. The actors are all great. Mm-hmm. The set design is amazing. The special effects hold up.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad about the movie besides the fact that the script isn't three-dimensional.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a good movie.
It's fun.
And it doesn't need to be
anything. It doesn't
anything but.
Try to push anything.
If you haven't seen The Fifth Element, it's pretty good. So
you have to watch The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be, this is kind of like off of it, but I love that movie, and that's like a movie that I can watch like over and over again, and I don't mind, like if it's just on TV or something, like, or if my dad's watching it or whatever, just turning it on right away and just like picking up wherever it is, it's just fun to watch and things like that. But I always wanted to be the blue lady. For like Halloween,
one that sings?
The singer.
I just love that scene where like
it's to me that's like
inside her body and pull out.
That's like my favorite scene in the whole movie. I love that blue woman. I want to be her for Halloween.
Well, and what's his? Go ahead.
Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker.
Yes, he's fun.
Chris
in that
Tucker
movie.
is hilarious in that movie.
He's a lot of fun, and he's just so Chris Tucker in that movie. I feel like he's just shy. No, that movie is a lot of fun. It has some, if you're into like lovey-dovey, it has, of course, some love and some kissing. It has some humor, a lot of humor. Because like I said, Chris Tucker is in it. It has like the aliens. It has like the kind of cool like costumes. Like I think like the dress that everybody is in, like their costumes are really
and you have
cool.
your very apparent good guy and very apparent bad guys.
Right.
And their motives are very good guy, bad guy oriented. There isn't any like the characters aren't super fleshed out. I think I think Bruce Willis is probably the most fleshed out of all the characters. But it's a fun movie, and I don't think that we need these super detailed deep movies to enjoy. Like I think for a perfect example, in a previous episode we talked about Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes.
There is nothing going on under the surface of that movie. It is just a blast.
Right.
And then another good example is, did you ever watch Princess Bride?
Yes.
That movie is a perfect example of a movie about just straight good time and adventure.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I like adventure movies. I don't think every movie that doesn't have a deeper meaning is trash. Right. Although there are a lot of movies out there that don't have that and are trash. So,
and I think that it's okay to just be able to. I think people forget that you're allowed to have fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not everything has to be an argument.
Critics especially forget that you're supposed to have fun in a movie.
Yeah.
Because, man, there was really mixed opinions when The Fifth Element came out. Like people, like the fans, of course, like people like you and me, non-professional critics loved it, but like critics were like split. Like some of them thought it was a genius, and others thought that it was just trash.
Right. I mean, if you haven't seen The Fifth Element, that is definitely something that you need.
And it's something that you can find almost everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Crackle had it for a really long time. Netflix
I love
had
the
it
Blue
for a really
Lady.
long time.
I just don't know how I'm going to make myself look like latexy.
I can help you with that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She's actually really cool.
Yeah, you can actually go and buy liquid latex, and you could probably build yourself
I
want
to be her. No, she's really cool.
Yeah.
She's really, really cool. And maybe I can have I need somebody to be Chris Tucker. He's so fun in that movie. He's so fun in that movie. But so if you haven't seen Fifth Element and you just need to just take a break and just laugh and just enjoy, because it has action in it. It does. And like you said, the good guy, bad guy that everybody loves, and everything is in there. So you get a little bit of everything. Like I said, the comedy, you get some romance, whatever, boo. But
well, the romance isn't they're not
but it adds
super.
To it.
They're not
too much.
Super lovey-dovey. It's very.
It doesn't take away.
No.
Because sometimes I'm just well, you guys already know. Sometimes I'm really cut it out. But so that's actually going to do it for this episode of the podcast. You have been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Science Fiction Podcast. You can listen to this episode as well as future and previous episodes on our network website. That is gsmcpodcast.com, as well as on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. I'm Pauline.
And I'm Shay Northrup.
And
stay saucy.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sci-Fi Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.